Hello, folks. Welcome. Here we are again after another premiere, episode 262. And I see we have close to 20 people. We have 20 or so people here right now. And welcome. So, how about this story? It was a shorter story and powerful. I thought I really appreciated how candid the mother was, how she I don't know, there was just something very, here it is, about the way that she shared her story. So how's everybody doing today? Anybody have feedback? We always love to hear feedback about the story that we just did. And Brianna, you missed it. You have to watch it later. No boogie. No biggie. Catch it later. Leave comments in the comment section. That's always welcome. I always learn from the comments that people share. So what else? I see we have about 20 people in the room, and surely someone has some thoughts about the story we just watched. Those of you who were able to see it. She's absolutely right. Everyone should have Narcan on hand all the time. Yeah. Naloxone, Narcan, or one of the many other brands. You guys know I have that graphic. I can put it up anytime. And it's just that easy. All of those things are naloxone. Only one says Narcan. They're all equally effective. In fact, some studies suggest that Cloxato, because of the higher dose, might be a little bit more faster, might be faster acting just by seconds. But when we're talking about hypoxia, when we're talking about not enough oxygen to the brain, seconds matter. And so Narcan is definitely a better word. It's an easier word to say. Sounds better. It's more cool, easier to pronounce. I don't know. Narcan became the official brand, I think, because they were first, I think. But I don't know that, but that's just how it typically goes. And could be that the folks at, I believe the company that distributes Narcan is called Emergent. The folks at Emergent have really good marketing people and managed to make their product the generic brand or the generic name instead of Naloxone, which is the drug. Narcan has become kind of a slang that you'll hear. I've heard EMTs talk about Narcan many times, even though they're carrying Cloxato or they're carrying something else. They will still call it Narcan every time. Kind of weird, I think, that medical professionals do the same thing too. Emergency room nurses and physicians will say Narcan. They'll say Narcan rather than saying Naloxone. Don't understand it. Not really. Not for medical professionals. They should be saying Naloxone, not Narcan. Ibuprofen, not Advil. Acetaminophen, not Tylenol. Anyway, so soon we will be publishing our first story about cannabis-induced psychosis. That's going to be it's going to be different. It's a new topic, and it's a somewhat volatile topic. So it's probably going to draw some passionate comments. We'll see. We're also heading to Florida again soon. We'll be in Pensacola, and it looks like we'll be possibly in somewhere around the Cocoa Beach area as well. We'll see. And I feel like I keep hitting the microphone with my coffee cup. I guess my motor skills are going out. So we'll probably we have Pensacola, Cocoa Beach. Norfolk, Virginia is one that we've been talking about. I'm not sure how signups are going with that one. We're also going to Seattle. And we're going to be having a summit in Houston. How convenient for me. Holy cow. So that's the big stuff that's on the agenda. When we were in yes, Brianna, a survivor of marijuana psychosis. Yeah, we interviewed several. We also interviewed parents whose sons or daughters did not survive cannabis-induced psychosis. Have you guys heard much about CIP, about cannabis-induced psychosis? Is it something you guys are familiar with, or something you haven't really heard anything about? Just trying to learn here. We're going to have a series of stories about it. We shot, I'm guessing 16 to 18 stories, maybe a few more than that, when we were in Denver. This happens constantly with everything. Which the debate, the argument, the friction. Is that what you're referring to? So I can tell you guys a little bit about cannabis-induced psychosis. Oh, I see what you're saying. Saying Google something instead of doing an internet search, get a Coke instead of getting a soda or cola or whatever. Yeah, it does. It does. But with most things where it happens, it's not a life and death thing. But in the case of calling Naloxone Narcan, it could be. I don't find it to be much of a stretch to picture two guys that are at a party and are a bit impaired, holding a box that doesn't say Narcan. It says Cloxado, or it says something else, and it says Naloxone on it. But they're arguing about the box while their friend is on the floor. They're looking at this box that says Cloxado, and they say, yeah, man, but it doesn't say Narcan anywhere. I said, dude, I know. What do we do? I don't think we should give it to him because it may not be the right stuff. And so while they have this debate back and forth, the friend on the floor dies. So saying Naloxone can matter. Nunya says Narcan is a common name. Sadly, if you tell a family the medical name, it may cause more confusion than necessary. But if you have a box of Cloxado or any of the other boxes in the graphic that I showed a moment ago, they don't say Narcan anywhere. They all say Naloxone. So, yeah, saying Xerox something, same thing for sure. Xerox, I need a Kleenex instead of saying I need a tissue. Not to sound high drama or anything, but it happens. It is marketing that makes it happen, and it's a giant victory for marketing departments and for the company that reaps the benefit. Medical professionals, they're some of the worst about it. Yes, every second counts. And so naloxone, more and more people are starting to say naloxone rather than say Narcan, or they'll say both. But it's still not there. It's still Narcan has become a verb. You can hear EMTs say, "We Narcaned him 3 times." It's more cumbersome, I suppose, to say we gave him naloxone 3 times. But it's accurate. And that ought to matter, especially for professionals. And it helps for more people to hear naloxone. Naloxone. Okay, so back to the cannabis-induced psychosis stuff. One of the guys that I interviewed when we were in Denver was a Navy veteran who got into a psychotic state from cannabis, and he shot his girlfriend and then chased her down the street, shooting at her more. She was hit, I believe, twice. Her wounds were not severe, and she survived. Sorry, I'm just doing a thing here because I'm getting a text message from the other room. So, anyway, yes, every second counts. Every second counts in a giant way. Hypoxia sets in fast. Not enough oxygen to the brain is so dangerous and so harmful so fast. Every second matters. Best wife's lady, I keep it in my house or car. Each state has a way to get it for free. That's probably true. So I wouldn't know how to find that out for sure, but there are ways to get it free if you pay attention. That there are regularly there's some sort of fentanyl awareness event, and those events typically have naloxone in some form available free. At some of them, they even have fentanyl test strips available free as well. Harm reduction organizations oftentimes have it available for free. by the mail from their website, or you can go by their office or whatever and pick it up for free. In some cities, there is other free resources that are sort of like newspaper dispensing machines, if you remember those. So it is out there free. It's pretty open conversation here. We kind of bounce around and get into all kinds of stuff, but the naloxone thing, that's a big deal. Saves lives. Definitely saves lives. It prevents funerals. You can get it free in Alabama. Well, there you go. You can get it free in Texas too. You can get it free in Florida. You can get it free in many places. Sometimes you have to look around a little harder. You can also buy it at Walgreens. You can buy a generic version that says Walgreens on it, but it's exactly the same. There is no difference in how effective they are. It's all the same. It's all naloxone. All right, so back to the cannabis-induced psychosis stuff. This Navy veteran, this Navy veteran shot his girlfriend several times while in that psychotic state. While she was running down the street, he was shooting at her. Sorry, maybe the dog will be quiet now. So in that psychotic state, he was shooting at her. So I interviewed him, and then I interviewed the girlfriend, who is now his fiance. So clearly she's over it. Clearly they both understand how scary and how dangerous it can be, and they were a really cool couple to talk to. I talked to a woman who lost her son, who basically committed suicide by cop while in a psychotic state, brought about by marijuana, brought about by THC. Just THC. Nothing else was in his system. And I also talked to a woman named Bryn Spetcher. Spejcher, maybe. So let's see. Jelani Day was found in a lake river in 2021. One of her last known whereabouts was a cannabis shop. He was found unclothed. ME ruled it a self-inflicted casualty. Did he experience psychosis? I do not know. I'm not familiar with that case. Should I be? I'm kind of an old guy. I miss out on a lot of stuff, Is it just regular? It's not. It's kind of neither. Is what I'm learning. That I'm learning about this as we start doing these stories. Just the same way I started learning about fentanyl from doing the stories and meeting all these people. And cannabis today isn't like cannabis was like 20, 30 years ago. 20 or 30 years ago, the typical amount of THC in cannabis was about 4%. And now there's products out there that are 20-30% THC. And when you get into some products that are like vapes, it can be up to 90%, 95% THC. So it is much, much higher doses. So it's kind of just regular marijuana, but regular marijuana isn't what regular marijuana used to be. Regular marijuana used to be a natural thing, a plant, and it's still a plant, but it's genetically modified. And it's not what it was. It has a higher potential to have unwanted consequences, a higher potential to induce temporary psychosis, or even permanent. It has a higher potential to do brain damage to developing minds. The cannabis shop, I hear, is more potent. I believe it's more accurate to say that it is, that there's more potent options. And the catch is that the potency isn't measured as critically as it could be. That there's a big permissible margin for error. So like there is a label that says it's 20% THC. Maybe it is, but maybe it's 22%, or maybe it's 17%. That the margin for error in the measurement is substantial, and it's poorly monitored as well. Bestie says basically it's pure, still not laced, but modified to be excessively strong unnaturally. That's a good way to put it. That it's modified. There's growth tricks. There's genetic modifications that take place, and it's all in the effort to make it stronger, to make it more appealing to consumers, and to get more. It's a business thing. Get more business. That's how business works. So another one that we talked to, Bryn Spetcher. You guys could Google her. You can look her up on the internet, to not use the brand thing. And it should, Brooke, it should scare you. It is scary. Bryn, one of the stories that we interviewed in Denver, was such a nice person. I really felt for it. That I felt that it's unfortunate the circumstance she's in. She, according to her, she was not a frequent marijuana user at all. That in her life, she probably had used marijuana less than 10 times, is how she describes it. Not particularly opposed to it, just not that interested in it either. And she was at a friend's house, a kind of a, not a boyfriend, maybe someone just starting to date and getting to know each other. She's at his house. He has a roommate and lives in a condo or townhouse or something like that in California. And he's very much into smoking weed, and has a bong and uh, asks Bryn to give it a try, and she does. A few minutes goes by. He asks how she's doing, and she said, "Yeah, I don't really feel anything." And that sort of raised the bar for him. And so he said, "Here, we'll try it again." And he did. He it's called stacking a hit, so that one hit is really the equivalent of 3 or 4 hits. And she tried that, and it immediately made her feel sick, nauseous, upset, felt like she was going to die. And a month earlier, the guy had done the same thing to his roommate, and the roommate's reaction was to lock himself in the bathroom. Thought he was going to die, and had a terrible, literally thought he was going to die, and had a terrible reaction to it. So when Bryn had that reaction, it went much further, and in that psychotic state, Bryn stabbed her dog, and then she stabbed the guy over 100 times, and he died. And then she turned the knife on herself and tried to kill herself. When the cops got there, they tased her 3 or 4 times and couldn't get her to let go of the knife. Then they started hitting her with the baton, broke her arm in a couple of places, and she finally dropped the knife. So it's quite a story. That scares me because one of my son's friends is smoking weed. We don't have cannabis shops here. Alabama don't even have medical marijuana yet. So another person that I talked to when I was in Denver was I interviewed two physicians. and and the physicians say that there's no supporting evidence for medical marijuana being a thing for achieving an effect, other than that general euphoric effect, that general euphoric feeling that you can certainly benefit from if you're dealing with chronic pain, if you're dealing with the challenges of going through chemotherapy and things like that, then yeah, there's a benefit. But treating anxiety, no, not according to them. So, and they would know. Yeah, she got a light sentence, probation. That basically the court treated it about the same as you would treat involuntary manslaughter if you killed someone while driving while intoxicated. So, and it was an interesting case in that the prosecutor actually uh, completely agreed with the idea of reducing the charge to involuntary manslaughter. I was a heavy weed smoker back when I was young. I'm 54 now, and there's no way I would smoke it. You never know what's in it now. That's true. That things are way different now. I'm 63, and the kind of weed that was around when I was in high school was 3, 4, 5% THC. And now things can be 5 times that. So anyway, it's going to be really interesting to start getting these cannabis stories out there and see how the audience responds to them, and see what kind of discussion, what kind of debate it brings about. That's going to be interesting, I think. So it seems like we have some new faces in the group here tonight. So I am very grateful, glad that you're here. And if you guys would like to ask questions, feel free. If you have some questions about our channel, or questions about fentanyl or addiction recovery or human trafficking or whatever, feel free to just shoot them out there. Yeah, I look forward to those stories too. I'm sure wanting to see them finished. But we're working on them, and hope to get to them soon. Hope to have them ready. Our goal is to probably publish the first 4, one right after the other, one a day for the first 4 days, and then we'll try to get into a schedule that puts them offset from fentanyl stories, so that one day it's a fentanyl story, and then the next day or 2 days after that it's a cannabis story, or a human trafficking story, or domestic violence story, or something like that. How come 988 is at the end of every video? Does that really help them? I don't know. I hear mixed results about 988, but it is a consistent resource that applies to a lot of different kinds of crises, and so it seems like in general the best option. And there is certainly other options out there as well that that are equally valid, but just having some place to start with, 988 seems like a great starting point. We do have a story. When was it? It was either when we shot a series of more fentanyl stories in Wichita, and then the cannabis stories in Denver, and one of the storytellers had some very critical things to say about the 988 phone call, or phone service, the ability to call 988 and get help. The storyteller, I don't remember which location it was, but the storyteller said that there were basically no help at all. That they just, I don't know, like said, call back on Monday or something like that, or said there was nothing they could do. It sounded pretty disappointing. It had me thinking, ooh, maybe we need to take the 988 off of there. But it's the first that I've heard of anything like that, and have heard a substantial amount of good things about calling 988. So I don't know. So I see we have 5 thumbs up, and we have over 30 people watching. Not that that's a hint or anything. But very, very jazzed about the stories. That there's a organization in New York that that we're probably going to do something with soon, addressing the same kind of stories. It's a topic that really seems certainly under discussed. It's not in the news as much as it seems like it could be. Much like fentanyl isn't in the news as much as it should be. There's some, so there's certainly some crossover there. I think that neither one, and especially I think with cannabis, because cannabis is a market thing now. It's a moneymaker. There's businesses built around it. There's big business built around it. And so there's this new variable that is out there that is going to protect it because it is a source of income for people. And so it's just a natural thing to want to protect what sustains you, what represents your livelihood. Just a natural thing. I don't know. Do you guys hear that? I do. Anyway, but I don't think I hear it through here. What other questions, folks? Anyone else have questions that you'd like to ask about Texas Pictures or fentanyl or cannabis or whatever? You guys are so quiet. I should have had notes, shouldn't I? So I can tell you about some stuff that you might find interesting that about me, like about the way that our storytelling summits work. All of our storytelling summits begin basically the same way. They all start with one person somewhere in the country, or it could be outside the country. It hasn't happened yet. We've had an inquiry from somewhere in Canada, but that's been it, and it hasn't evolved into a summit yet, but it could. And so we'll hear from someone somewhere who wants to share their story about their loved one or about human trafficking or domestic violence or whatever. We'll hear from someone, and then that will be the beginning of what will evolve into a storytelling summit event. And so I can show you right here. These are, and this isn't even all of them anymore. These are places where we've had storytelling summits so far. That from Sacramento to Florida to Maryland to Alaska, kind of all over. Recently, we were in Colorado and in Kansas again, and there's also 3 places along the northern border of Florida that aren't marked yet. So there's 5 or 6 stars that need to be added to this map. But these are most of the places that we have recorded stories so far. And all of these places began with one local person who contacted us and wanted to share their story. And they became our event coordinator. And so that one person found a place for us to shoot stories and found some additional storytellers to share their stories. And then from that point, we announced the event on our channel and on our Facebook pages, and people start signing up. And so then we go to the location and we'll shoot for 2 or sometimes 3 days. We'll shoot interviews. We'll shoot 6 to 8 interviews a day. And it's really kind of that easy. And they happen all over. On our website, not on our YouTube channel, but on our website, there is a link. If you go to our homepage, there's several links there. There's buttons on the homepage that say about sharing your story, and that takes you to a page that explains the process of sharing your story. There's a button that says about storytelling summits that explains how having us come to your area is possible. It's not something we charge anything for. It's not something we pay anything for. And it's really a pretty easy process to get us wherever to get us to come wherever. So what else can I tell you folks about? There is I can show you guys. We're working on the design that's going to become the thumbnail, the basic thumbnail concept for the series about cannabis-induced psychosis. And so here is the graphic that we're coming up with. So what do you guys think about that? Kind of impactful, of course, in the black area in the background or underneath it or beside it or however, there'll be some sort of image that is of the storyteller or the victim or the circumstance that connects it to cannabis-induced psychosis. But what do you guys think of the graphic? Yay or nay? I don't know. It's kind of there's not much to it right now, but you have to kind of imagine it with some other design elements in there, or a person's face, or whatever. So what do you guys think about that? Does that look okay? Does that seem kind of cool? Do you see that and think, ooh, maybe I should click on that. Maybe I should watch that. Getting a little parched. Sorry. Looks great, and it would look good with just the psychosis. Yes, Brooke. We've done it that way too. I just have the one graphic loaded up in the system. But yeah, we have it just psychosis. I think I probably like it better with just the word psychosis. I feel like the marijuana leaf in the O is enough to connect it with cannabis. So, thank you, MD Pooh and Cameron Head. I don't know what I'm hearing over there. But yeah, Brooke, I do like the idea of it just being the word psychosis. There's another graphic. This is totally different. Now, looking at this graphic, it really kind of the presidents being part of the graphic don't really matter. Don't think about the presidents are a landmark in time, but the graphic probably has nothing to do with any of the administrations because none of the administrations really did anything about fentanyl. The downturn that you see around 2024, 2023 is just as likely to be the result. Yeah, it is quiet, isn't it? The downturn is just as likely to be a result of the many there's a ton of fentanyl awareness organizations now. Many of them started by parents who lost a loved one to fentanyl, who just wanted to do something, and so they started this effort, this some sort of awareness effort. Maybe it's teaching students in schools, or maybe it's having awareness events, or having marches, or whatever. And so that's more likely to be the reason there's been what looks a little bit like a downturn. Now that data is preliminary data for 2023 and 2024, so it's not complete. That number could adjust up or down a bit, but that's what's out there right now. Yeah, Brooke, the chat is dead tonight. We'll probably be closing it up pretty soon. And what typically happens when I say that out loud, suddenly things start getting active, and holy cow, it's later and it's Friday night, so yeah, maybe folks are busy. I've just been kind of trying to go through the material that we have loaded up to share with you guys. So I showed you guys this before. I want you to, if you look in the bottom right hand corner, there's a Walgreens, generic Walgreens box, and I took that picture on a counter in a Walgreens. I just asked them, will you let me take a picture of that? And they had it behind the counter with in that same area in Walgreens where they have like lighters and tobacco products and nicotine patches and things like that. Kind of seemed like a weird place for it, but it made sense, I guess, that it would be someplace where people would see it while they're checking out. So that's a good one. Here's another one. You know, Texas Pictures has been in business since 2007. We're a video production company, and most of the work that we've done for the first 15 years that we were in business was industrial kind of production work, training and safety videos, corporate business to business kind of promotional videos, things that very rarely get any kind of public audience. Nothing like what we get on YouTube now. But in the course of doing that kind of work, there was a lot of travel involved. So here are the places that I've been for work. So we've been to every continent on Earth except Antarctica to create stories. So I feel like that's a pretty cool thing. I just thought I would share that. I feel like there's some new people in the room, some new guests in the chat. I think I might play a kind of a overview thing. Yes, Brooke, I have kind of been all over. So while we're talking about that, and while most of the people in the room aren't saying a thing, I'm gonna go back to this globe for a second, and I want you to look at this. This is where I've been. Obviously North America, but South America and Africa and Europe and Asia and Australia and, well, obviously a lot of places in Europe, places in Russia, Kazakhstan. I've been to the Caspian Sea. I've been to the UAE. I've been to Dubai. And here's the thing that I have learned. I hear people say a lot that people in other countries hate us. No, they don't. They don't. They really don't. When I hear someone say people in other countries hate us, what that's saying to me is that person hasn't been anywhere, and they're just repeating what they've heard from whatever ridiculously biased news source suits what they already believe that is the truth. They do not hate us. In all of the places I've been, I've never been treated badly because I was an American. It just never happened. The only time it even came close was in Paris with a taxi driver. But here's the thing. When I got into that cab, I was not having a good day. And it could be he was kind of a jerk to me because I was being a jerk. You kind of tend to attract what you dwell on. You reap what you sow. If you're acting like a jerk, you're going to be treated like a jerk. So when someone says people in other countries hate us, what they're saying is, I haven't been anywhere, but this is what I've been told from the biased media that I believe. Or it could be that they have been places, and what they're saying is, Yeah, they hate us. When the reality is, they just hate you because you're a jerk. If you're acting like a jerk, you're going to be treated like a jerk, and there you are. So they do not hate us. They do not. We are not a laughing stock because of whatever leadership is in the White House. It just doesn't work that way. People in other countries just don't care that much about what's happening here. They care about what's happening in the country they live in. How crazy is that? You get what you give. Absolutely right, Amy. Yes, Amy, they are. They are. They are. They're all just people. But I feel like saying they're just people kind of undervalues what they are because they're all people. They all love their families. They all want to have a good time. They all want to share close moments with friends. They all have hopes and dreams and fears, just like we do. So mm, they all have the capacity to love. I've been I've been treated awesomely everywhere I've gone. Yeah, maybe a little less awesome with the UK. I don't know. Could just be me. So Amy also said, I like the psychosis graphic. The leaf in the O has the desired impact. I like it with cannabis induced, though. Yeah, I feel like the cannabis induced on top is probably going to be important for at least the first few episodes, and then if the series gains some popularity, then we could probably leave off that top part. Just make the word psychosis a design element in the episode title. They are people just like us. And just like us, we all have our own biases and preconceived notions and that kind of thing, but they do not hate Americans. When I hear someone say that, what happens in my brain is I think very sympathetically. I think, oh, that's not your fault. You're stupid. That, but ultimately, when someone, especially someone who hasn't been anywhere, says people in other countries hate us, how would they know? Why would they have any idea other than because they believe something that some media outlet told them? It reinforces the topic if the leaf isn't enough, the cannabis induced across the top. Yeah, it defines it a little more thoroughly, and it's a less known thing, and so kind of seems like at least for the first few stories, it should probably be there, and then eventually, I'm awake. God. And then eventually take that part off. Sorry, it just kind of snuck up on me. I don't know. But we have been here a little bit over an hour now. So it's probably going to be time to wrap it up pretty quick here. That's my thinking, and it didn't even really have any effect on when I said that before. It didn't really have any effect this time. So, but we are working hard to get some cannabis stories published to the channel really soon. Thank you, Amy. That's cool. I I think that's I appreciate the feedback. I appreciate it a lot. So another thing that happened when we were in Denver is we had a guy who lives in Denver. He's from Paris. So I had to give him a hard time about that. He's from Paris and he lives in Denver, and he has a YouTube channel. He's in his 40s, so but he's a filmmaker, and he makes some documentaries. He makes some that are similar in spirit to the kind of work that we do, in that he has some content. Oh, he has some content that has to do with people, with men who have endured domestic abuse, maybe sexual abuse. Really sharp guy, really motivated, really, and so when we were shooting stories, he was there. I wish there was an easy way to do that. He was there shooting pictures and video behind the scenes, and so that was cool. That was a good, useful thing for sure. So we have a bunch of behind the scenes footage from the interview process that was happening in Denver. In Denver, we were shooting interviews uh, at a like a private high school that's set up to focus on kids that are in recovery. It's very, very nice school. The student body is like around 80 to 120, I think. They told me, I just don't remember, but yeah, 80 to 120 or so, I think. It's certainly not big as far as what you'd typically think of as a high school big. There's no gymnasium, and but it seemed like a really cool place. It's empty right now because summertime, but uh, it was a really great facility to have access to, and it was cool. And having Vincent, the French guy, having Vincent there shooting behind the scenes pictures and video, and he also shot some great interviews with the storytellers. Why am I watching Jaws right now when I'm leaving for the beach in the morning? Brooke, yeah, that's probably not the way, not the way to go. You know, when Jaws came out, shark sightings at beaches went way up for some reason. But I think you're on to something, Brooke. I think it is about time to wrap it up for tonight. It's almost 9:30 here, and we have been live for over an hour and 6 minutes, it says. So, so it's probably getting to be uh, about time to wrap it up. I'm stupid, right? No, no, no. You're not stupid. It's it is and no, no. It's not stupid. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I am confident you will not have any encounters with sharks. Yeah, I guarantee it. See, that's kind of brave, isn't it? So, all right. Well, thank you very much, Amy, uh for thanking me for your thank you for your comment. I appreciate that. And for all of you quiet folks that are out there, I want to I want to let you know we're here for you guys too. That you are able to reach out to us at any time. That you can message me on Facebook. You can post comments on the stories on our channel to get messages to me. You can email me. I'll show you our email address in a minute. And you can go to our website, and on our website, you'll find other ways to contact us, email addresses, phone number, and even a mailing address. So we are going to wrap it up now. And you guys know I always like to close with this same graphic. Maybe we'll liven it up some kind of way at some point. But I always like showing you guys this because I want to remind you that you're always welcome to reach out to us at info@texas-pictures.com. Or you can find us on Facebook. We're also on TikTok, but we are not as attentive to messages on TikTok. And you can also visit our website at texas-pictures.com, where you'll find links to a merchandise store, link to how storytelling summits work, and a link to how the storytelling experience works. So some interesting stuff there, but you're always welcome to reach out to us at any time. We're here for you guys. So thank you all for joining us. Brooke, you have yourself a good time at the beach, and don't be worrying about the sharks. It'll be fine. All right, folks. Thanks again for joining us. Thanks for all the thumbs up. And we will talk to you next time, probably day after tomorrow, with a new story and a new live event. So thanks for now. Good night, everybody.